Hello and welcome to the Writers Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Barraclough, and I'd like to invite you to join the Writers Book Club. It's just like a regular book club, but with a writerly twist. Are you a writer who reads a book and thinks, I wonder why the author used a flashback instead of drip feeding the backstory there? Or maybe you've wondered how they went about finding the voice for a particular character. Or do they outline before they start? Then this is the podcast for you. Essentially, it's a no-holds-barred insight into an author's writing craft and process applied to a real-life novel. So here's how it works. Each month, we'll take a deep dive into one book, usually a novel, but don't worry, we'll be covering a few different genres. You'll have a couple of weeks to read the book and come up with your questions. The more detailed and specific to the novel, the better. I really want you to go deep. Plot, character, research, structure, voice, whatever you want to know, you get to ask, and the author will do their very best to answer your questions with specific reference to the novel we've all just read. Honestly, people, get down to sentence level if that's your bag. Then I will interview the author for the podcast and ask them as many of your questions as I can. The episode will be released in the first week of the following month. Then all you have to do is pop your earbuds in and soak up all the excellent writerly wisdom from our guest author. The idea is that you'll come away with practical tips as applied to a real novel, which you can then apply to your own writing. And if you're a reader and haven't been especially interested in this whole writing malarkey up till now, this podcast will give you a sneaky peek behind the scenes of how a novel is actually written. I mean, imagine if we had Jane Austen on the show to talk about Pride and Prejudice. We could ask her, who inspired the character of Darcy? Well, that would be my first question. We could also ask about the process she uses for writing all that witty dialogue. And did she outline the novel or write it by the seat of her bloomers? And does she use Scrivener? Actually, I'm pretty sure Scrivener had a whole other meaning in the 19th century. But of course, we won't be having Jane Austen on the show. No, we've got some authors younger than Jane, including our inaugural Writers Book Club guest, Natasha Lester. Natasha is not only one of Australia's best and most prolific historical fiction writers, she's also incredibly generous with her advice about the process and craft of writing. And did I mention she's also a New York Times and USA Today bestseller? Oh yeah, this woman knows her stuff and I'm thrilled she's joining us on the show. So without further ado, let me announce this month's Writers Book Club pick. We'll be taking a deep dive into Natasha's most recent novel, The Paris Secret. If you already have a copy, great. If not, grab a copy of The Paris Secret from your local bookseller, or if you prefer an ebook, it's definitely available on all the usual platforms. You have until the 15th of February to read the novel and post your questions for Natasha on our Facebook page. Just search for Writers Book Club Podcast on Facebook and pop your questions in the comments under the Paris Secret post. You can also do a search on Instagram and find us there. If you're not on Facebook or Instagram, fear not. You can email your questions to me at michelle@writersbookclubpodcast.com or jump on the website writersbookclubpodcast.com and send your questions in via the form there. I can't wait to read your questions and hear Natasha's insights into the writing of her novel. You will, of course, be able to listen to the podcast on all the usual platforms, or if you're sitting at your desk, you can listen straight from the website. I'm so excited to share this part of your writing journey with you and can't wait to connect in the Facebook group. I'll see you there, and I look forward to being in your ears in the first week of March. Until then, take care and happy writing.